I tried getting a lot of jobs in big companies, MNCs, but I could never crack the interview. And I think today I realize why it happened. I think I was just meant for bigger things. I believe in the concept of never being disappointed now. I would not eat out, okay? And this is the journey of an entrepreneur. Let's say if my family had to go out for dinner, and let's say dinner would be 5,000 bucks. I would calculate and say, you know what, let's not go out for dinner. Let me use those 5,000 rupees on a Facebook ad, which I want to experiment.
Life will give you shit. Life will treat you harsh. But trust me, once you break through, once you cross that escape velocity in life, you're gonna be 10x happier.
Hi everyone, welcome to a very, very special episode of A Dash of Inspiration. Today, I'm going to deep dive into a story of a man that a lot of you have seen over millions of views. He's known as the perfume man of India. He's known as an incredible serial entrepreneur. He's known as someone who has really revitalized the system, who stood out as a contrarian. But what you don't know is actually the real person behind all of this. The person that I've actually been friends with for more than a decade. The guy who really started from nothing and built everything right in front of our very eyes. And the guy who actually shows what it's like to be a young Indian and live out your own dreams. So I'm super excited to be joined by Aakash. Aakash, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you with us.
Thanks, Upasna. Thanks for the kind words.
Absolutely.
You're always so generous with them.
So Aakash, the world, of course, got to know you as the perfume man of India, your viral reels, your great content. But your journey started long before that, right? Again, I'm lucky enough to have called you a friend many years ago. I actually want to take the opportunity to take people back to where you really began. I don't know if people know this, but today BellaVita is one of the world's most successful brands. It's the largest selling perfume brand in India. But it actually started out as something in your mom's salon. It was something that she would give to her customers in her salon in Golf Course Road, Gurgaon.
Correct.
How did you build from there?
Upasna, I think even before the salon journey, we were friends that time. I was trying to do other things. I was trying my hands into real estate. I was doing outdoor advertising. When I came back to India after my education, I started an outdoor advertising company, burned my hands there for a bit, then took a job in a similar company.
And we all knew that you were not meant to work, you were meant to build your own business.
So that's what I keep saying, that I tried getting a lot of jobs in high, in big companies, MNCs, but I could never crack the interviews. And I think today I realize why it happened.
Why?
I think I was just meant for bigger things.
Yeah.
And maybe I was intimidating. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would have tried every single top company that my friends got into that time when I finished my education. But I couldn't crack a job. And I was pretty upset about it.
Yeah.
And now I realize maybe I was meant for bigger things in life, just like everyone else. So I believe in the concept of never being disappointed now. So before BellaVita, Upasna, a lot of different businesses were tried. And I failed in many.
Yeah.
Right? But the whole idea was to keep trying and to keep making yourself better. So the success of BellaVita has not just been because of my hard work in BellaVita. It's actually been because of that past 10 years of certain successes and certain failures, which were all implemented in the BellaVita journey. So,
I remember, again, I feel like I have a really great advantage of knowing you and seeing you build this in front of my eyes, literally. And I remember, many years ago when we were both starting out, and you came and I still remember the day you designed the first BellaVita logo. And I don't know if you remember this, Aakash, but I said to you, and I remember I was helping with something then. I said, what do you want this to be? He said, I want this brand to be something that every Indian knows about. And we were literally sitting in your basement office with two people with your parlor above us. But you knew back then that you wanted to build something that seismic. How did you know that? Why did you know that?
I knew that because I feel I understand the pulse of the mid-level consumer of India and all emerging markets, because I am that. With the kind of budgets that you have as a student or as someone who's just starting out, you always crave for the best things, but at very accessible or very affordable prices.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a brand in skincare. Actually, perfume that time did not exist for us, right?
Yeah.
It was just skincare. So I wanted to create a great India-based, Ayurveda-based skincare brand, which was very accessible in pricing with very high quality. Because a lot of people don't know this, that in skincare, products selling price is actually 10x, 8x of the manufacturing cost.
Yeah.
Right. So we thought if we can give people the same product at just 3x of the manufacturing cost, which gets us some profit, yet becomes accessible for the masses of the country, I think will be a success. And God was kind, consumers were kind, we were good with our innovation, and that's what happened.
I know, and you're of course being very modest about that. It was not a one night success, right? It was many many years. And the other thing that I remember was that, and I see this true even today. A couple of months ago when we met, I remember walking into your office building, and there was a painter who was painting, and he stopped us. And this is when you were basically reintroducing BellaVita as a brand to me. And he stopped us and he said, "Bhaiya, मैंने आपका perfume अपनी wife को दिया है," right? And to see that today in 2024, and you have done that in an ecosystem where, people are spending millions of dollars to get that attention. Yes, you've gotten attention, but I think the one thing that you've done for Indians is build a product that they are proud of. Even when someone's spending that amount of money, he's actually proud of having that product. I'm sure that's come from some insight and journey into your personal experience. You want to dive into that?
That's come from a very famous automobile brand, Maruti or Suzuki. Now, it's actually stemmed from there.
Really?
Where, why not give the entire country a product or a range of products? And that's not just BellaVita. We did it again in Bevzilla, we did it in Thriveco and other companies that we also run. So it's just, why not give consumers a product which is great on quality, but very friendly to the pocket and caters to your need? That's what Indians don't have.
Yeah.
They have either something is very cheap, both in terms of price and quality, or the expensive items are not affordable by the masses. And I think that's the root, the stem of where this thought came from, that I would not like to create a Mercedes, but I would like to create a Maruti, another Suzuki for Indians, and then take it global. I think that's happening. We recently launched in the US a few months back. We're already doing close to $2 million a sale a month, just in the American markets.
Absolutely, yeah. Because just because your ticket size is small does not mean that you don't want to have pride, you don't want to have love for the product that you're getting into your life.
Correct.
And like I said, this conversation is all about deep diving behind the man that built it all. It would not have been easy, right? Talk us through, what were your first set of challenges when you decided to do this? And especially at a time when the Indian startup ecosystem was also just, sort of coming of age, right? Today, of course, people see you, people see hundreds of other entrepreneurs. It's a lot more mainstream. Back when you and I were starting out, our parents were also not okay with trying out stuff like this, right? So talk to me about that time when you first began. What were your first challenges and how did you overcome it?
Upasna, now, in hindsight, everything looks very easy, right?
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, this guy built a brand like this, perfume brand, and doing more things now, and he got lucky, right?
Didn't.
So what I see, a lot of people start associating success of other people with luck. And I surely did get lucky, but as I always say, and something I read, that fortune favors the brave, right? Luck only favors those who keep trying, who keep innovating, who keep experimenting. Life is like a dartboard, business like a dartboard. You keep throwing your darts. The ones that stick, you scale them up. The ones that don't, you forget and move on. It's been a very, very, very tough journey. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Going through the struggles is not easy. And I remember we weren't in touch for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
If we start talking, I think we could spend nights or days just talking about failures, just talking about the tough nights, the tough days, and the moments where, let me start with this story first, right? This studio we're sitting in, I can't name it right now. This studio is a famous studio in Gurgaon. And I reached out, that time I wasn't that famous, and I reached out to the founders of the studio. And I said, hey dude, listen, I'm from BellaVita, a skincare company, and I want to make some great content. I have some great ideas. Can you help me shoot this content? They said, okay, cool. And I said, listen, I'm a startup. I promise you this will be huge, or this might not be huge, but you've got so many hours in the studio that go waste. So I said, cost pay, take it from me at cost, but just let me shoot with you guys. The founders said, no, right? That no, dude, we can't, we're sorry. And they gave a crazy pricing, which bigger funded companies could afford. And I told them, dude, please do this for me. Trust me, I will help you out when the time is right and anything you want. And they said no. And true story, the founder of the studio reached out to me about 2 years back. That, hey Aakash, we'd love to partner with BellaVita and other companies of yours. Please help me out. We are going through a rough patch. Help us out. I gave them more than 2.5-3 crores of business.
Wow.
Right? Just to tell them that, dude, next time when you get someone like an Aakash come in, walk through the door and ask for your help, make sure you do it because you could afford it. It wasn't going to cost you a penny. It's just your infrastructure. You've given it at the same price as the cost. It wouldn't really costed you.
Yeah.
So I made sure I could have turned them down. I
Yeah.
said, no, you know what, forget it.
Yeah.
I can't. And I did the same thing to a lot of other
Yeah.
vendors also who refused me when I started my business. But I gave them business when they came back knocking at our doors, just to tell them that make sure when someone like me comes again,
Yeah.
you don't shoo them away. And that's my message to all the people out here. Everyone who's there above in the hierarchy, please make sure if it's not a dent to your pocket or if it's not hurting you in any way, try and give opportunities to people who are trying to climb the ladder.
Absolutely.
Because once you do that and become a mentor for someone, you never know, the guy would be obliged to you for life.
Yeah.
The people who supported you and supported me in my journey, you supported me so much in your journey, and now I'm trying to help you out in your journey as well. The people who supported me in my journey, Upasna, I am indebted to them for life.
Yeah.
Anything they need, anytime, any hour, I'm there for them. Because I'll never forget what they were to me when I was trying to scale whatever I was trying to scale.
Absolutely. And that's again, I don't think a part of you that many people know. And I think that's something, you and I and a lot of entrepreneurs have in common, that there's actually a very karmic side of business. See, business is money, money is energy. And we have a school of thought where we bring in spirituality and energy into what we do. And that's a part of you that not a lot of people know, that you're actually a very deeply spiritual person. In fact, you've been responsible for bringing in lots of people, including myself, into a path of, purpose, into a path of spirituality that's driving our day-to-day. Because like you said, entrepreneurship is hard, and founders are not sitting here, doing fancy podcasts every day. Most of the time we are firefighting. And on those low points, you need to have an anchor. Talk to me about that, because that's something that everybody who knows you says, that you're this guy who has a very strong spiritual anchor. How did that journey begin, and what role does that play for you in today?
So, in life, when you're broken, in life, when you're in stress, it could be emotional, it could be financial, it could be physical, whatever stress you're into, you always need that anchor, or you always need that someone to bank upon, right? Or to speak to, or to just get your energy from. For me, it became our spiritual guru, right?
Yeah.
Who's non-existing in his bodily form. And I don't want to name him because I don't want this to be promoted as, that I'm promoting spirituality or religion in any way. So our spiritual guru, I was introduced to him back in 2011 when I came back to India, and by my mother. It was so beautiful. So I was not very religious, but I knew that there is divine intervention, there is divine power. There is divine being which is guiding all of us, right? You can call it your soul, your spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. But then we as humans need a picture, need an idol, need something to rely on.
Yeah.
And for me, it was that. So I started going to the mandir. I started going to his ashram. And as I say, he wasn't there in his bodily form, but his teachings were there.
Yeah.
And I started understanding his teachings, which were very simple. A few of them being, if you can't do something positive for someone, don't do something negative.
Yeah.
Be neutral. If you can't speak positive, don't speak negative, right? Or say nothing at all. Don't ask for something, just accept what you get in life.
And that's, I think, one of the most pivotal learnings of my life, thanks to you. And it's a Punjabi Hindi line which says "Mango mat, but
Correct.
mano," which means don't ask the universe, but surrender.
Correct.
So how did you apply that in your life? Because you truly did. I don't think you ever sat on a couch and said, yeah, one day I'm going to be the serial entrepreneur, BellaVita aisa ho jayega. You were just building and building. How did you take that teaching and apply it to your life back then when you truly had no idea how this was going to shape up?
That's exactly what you call surrender. When you surrender in life and you say whatever happens will happen for a good cause, for a good reason, and let me just keep doing my hard work. Let me just have karma on my side.
Yeah.
And let me just truly build what I want to build without worrying about what will happen if it goes wrong or what will happen if it goes right.
Yeah.
Obviously, the enjoyment you'll have or the kudos you'll get once everything is right, everyone wants that, right?
Yeah.
But if it goes wrong, what will happen? That's one thing you should not worry about once you've surrendered yourself to someone divine or to this universe and say, whatever happens, so be it. And I would love my life to be called so be it, because everything in my life till date, I've handled with an attitude saying, so be it.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, so be it. Something happened for the right reason, so be it.
Yeah. And the other side of that is there's a lot of work, physical work. You cannot escape that. There are no free lunches, there are no free rewards. And what you just said, right? It's actually very easy to do this when you're flying high in life. It's the toughest to do when you're at your lowest. And what do you think your lowest form was or your lowest point was as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
I was exhausted, Upasna. I think I'll tell you a routine which I've practiced day in and day out for about 12 months. And I think it was almost the end of me. I used to work out of my parents' house basement. I was living in a different house, so I would go to their house every morning. The basement was the office. I would reach the office at 11 a.m. because I'm not an early riser. So I would reach at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I would be in office, just setting up the teams, telling people what to do, and people. There were 5-7 people that time in the company, telling people what to do, getting things in order, making sure the ad campaigns are running fine. Plus, that was the time I was also studying. So because I don't want to rely on people, I was studying how to run Facebook ads, how to get a Shopify store, how to get the best ROASes, how to get the best certifications, etc., etc. So 1 p.m. I would start my lunch. 1:30 p.m. finish my lunch. 1:45 I would pick up my car. I used to have a Ford EcoSport back then. I would pick up my car, drive from my house or my office that time to Bhavana. Right? Bhavana is this industrial town in India, in Delhi, where all our manufacturing used to happen for the skincare products. Drive to Bhavana all the way. It was an hour and a half drive from Gurgaon, bare minimum. While driving, I'd be on my loudspeaker on the hands-free and keep doing my meetings or talking to people and keep doing whatever I have to do. Reach the factory, sit with the staff, overlook the production, make sure everything is right, the labels are stuck properly, everything's fine. That same night, put stuff back in the boot of my car, get them to the office by 11 p.m. every night, put them in the warehouse so that they could be shipped out the next morning, and then reach back home at 1 a.m. and then again start the journey. Now that entire journey, those 13, 14 hours used to become so hectic, depressing, demotivating. Yeah, that what am I doing? Because I was doing all this to ensure I save a lot of money on logistics. I save money on, I used to think this, I would not eat out. Okay, and this is the journey of an entrepreneur. Let's say if my family had to go out for dinner, and let's say dinner would be $5,000, I would calculate and say, you know what, let's not go out for dinner. Let me use those 5,000 rupees on a Facebook ad, which I want to experiment.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own struggles. Those were my struggles, where I would try to save every single penny with the intent that this penny spent in an experiment in my business could become 100x.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10, those experiments were failures, but 1 experiment out of 10 experiments would be a success.
And to anyone listening this, I know this because I remember you doing this, right? Would think that, okay, he's doing this to make his business successful and earn money. I know for a fact that you never thought about that. It was never about how much money you were making. What was your driving force back then? It was never to make $1 million. You never talked about, oh, I'll exit and I'll do that. Why were you working so hard? What were you building this for?
Success in terms of financial freedom was definitely there for me. And there were some personal incidents which happened in my life, which I don't want to talk about, where obviously I was away from my house and I started off from scratch again after getting married. For me, it was very important to make sure that I can become financially independent pretty soon. So it wasn't talking about $1 million or a multi-million dollar exit or making a 1,000 crore brand, nothing, right? But it was just to say that, all my friends today are making 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakh rupees monthly in their job. Let me at least come to a position where I can make that much on a monthly basis by running my business and take care of myself and my family. I kept doing it, it kept growing, and then it reached to where it's reached today. But yes, you're right. It was never on the cards to make such wealth. It happened because I just stuck to creating BellaVita and making it bigger. But the idea was just to earn enough or just to be successful enough to make sure I get a comfortable life and I take care of my expenses and the family expenses.
I think when you did it, it wasn't just, an anomaly for the Indian ecosystem in terms of product, but also the way you did it, right? Again, I'll say I'm also part of that crowd which, does marketing in a certain way or brand in a certain way. But you came and you just changed the way people branded and marketed their products. And it was amazing. It was insane. And talk to us a little bit about that, right? The kind of experiments that you did, the kind of marketing that you built. What were you thinking?
Nothing. That's the truth. I was thinking nothing. As I said, I did not give two hoots about the repercussions. I did not care what the repercussion would be, not in a negative way, but I did not care what the perception would go to people if I start marketing my products, because I felt, and you know where this came from? This came from this company, I think Glossier or some brand in the US, and I saw a lot of American brands that time, that how are these brands being marketed? And I noticed a lot of founders would just go on camera,
Yeah.
market their products, talk about their products. And I was like, you know what? How come I did not think of this? Because any business you see today, retail, the owner is the biggest marketer of what they do.
Yeah.
Right? So I saw that, if American founders can actually be on camera, market their products, and they look average. They're not models. So here's an average looking guy wearing a black t-shirt, promoting his own products and telling people, hey, this is what I've made, this is what it's gonna do, this is how much it costs, why don't you give it a try? That's it. And that strategy worked like crazy.
There's a lot of sacrifice, right? And at some point in your journey, you actually have to get up and say, hey, listen, to build this, I have to give up sometimes my personal life, sometimes my health, sometimes social life, sometimes, the number of birthdays you would have missed, the number of parties you would have missed, the number of times you stayed up all night. You've done all of that, right? Two questions. In 2024, a lot of young people come and ask me, A, is it worth it? And B, how do you deal with that? Because I also know now you're a founder who in fact tells me that, hey, listen, it's equally important to prioritize your health. How do you figure that balance, and what would you tell to young people today?
First of all, work-life balance is bullshit. Doesn't exist. If you're trying to create something,
You're going to get into trouble for saying that.
that's okay. It doesn't exist. If you want a phenomenal outcome, you have to put the phenomenal input. The problem today with a lot of Gen Zs or with a lot of young people that I see, which is a bit scary or heartbreaking for me, is that they would love to have an output of what people like you and me are having today, but they would not want to put the input to get here. So you can't have a baby without being pregnant. It's that simple, it's as simple as
Yeah.
that. And that's what I would like to tell everyone, that listen, if today 100% of you would love to be in our shoes, or would love to be like the sharks you see, or like successful entrepreneurs, Elon Musk, people are talking about him after the election win, etc. Dude, go back, read their journey, listen to their podcasts, look at the amount of hardships, look at the amount of hustles, sacrifices that they've done.
Yeah.
If you think you're able to do that, only then dream of being where these people are.
And the thing is that it's very important to let people know, including you and I, we're not sitting today and working 24 hours a day. No. But it's about living your life in sprints, right?
Correct.
Which is, there's cycles, right? There is a cycle. There's certain months of your life where you're like, I'm going to deprioritize everything and just work on my business. You achieve a certain milestone. Then you focus on something else and you come back. So you work hard, you recover, you rest, and you come back. But basically, you're saying what most of us actually live is that there's no shortcut to this. There has to be a lot of hard work.
No, we can afford to be lazy now, but we can only afford to be lazy because we worked hard for those 4-5 years.
Yeah.
At a stretch. I don't remember holidays. I don't remember birthdays. I don't remember parties. I don't remember attending weddings. I don't remember get-togethers. I don't even remember family dinners.
Yeah.
That was my life for 3-4 years. I don't remember seeing you.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing you. We're both busy building our businesses.
4 years, you were doing your own thing. I was doing my own thing. I wasn't in touch with anyone because my focus, my family, my goal, my dream, my vision, everything was just my business. Anything I would do, I would put BellaVita first. I would put my company first.
Yeah.
I would put my business first. Just with an ambition that the moment this gets successful or the moment I reach where I want to reach, I would chill. And that's what happened to Upasna.
Yeah.
Once, yeah.
And I remember this so distinctively, like you said, we used to, talk quite often. For 4 years, we didn't speak to each other. And then what people perceive is an overnight success, which I know is not. I remember distinctively when I realized, wow, you built something incredible. I know you were on LinkedIn and all of that. Honestly, I didn't pay any attention to that. But I remember this moment where my mom, who's never been on Instagram, never been on social media, comes to me and shows me a part of your reel where you're talking about building something. And I think you talked about, you only fly, let's say, business class when you earn something. And that's when I was like, wow, this guy's done something, because you've reached out to somebody like my mom, right? She's not sitting on LinkedIn. She's not some young startup person. She's a real, normal Indian consumer. And suddenly I was like, wow, what has this guy been doing for 4 years? I still didn't reach out to you then. But I think things changed for you overnight, right? So, as somebody who's seen the lowest of the lows, you then also saw the highest of the highs. And I want you to now talk to me about that. What are the biggest lessons you learned then when suddenly you were this overnight sensation, everybody was talking about you'd become a celebrity? What was that feeling like?
Okay, so let's not talk about the positives, because the positives everyone knows. What's positive? You get attention, you get freebies. I mean, you get a lot of kudos. You get all your friends back with twice their friends also coming in, right? So the positives everyone knows about, but you need to understand the negatives that you have to go through, and what you have to learn. One, everyone who is working hard today or thinking that they are living a life of sacrifice, trust me, it's a beautiful thing they're living right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because the friends they are craving are not their friends. They would come back running the moment success hits. Or there's a very famous line in Hindi, right, or in English also, which I have a golden rule in my office, by the way, in my office and my friend circle, that this line would never be said by anyone. And these three words are, मैंने बोला था, I said so, right? And this, you realize this, right? Anytime you go wrong, your family, your friends, the people around you would be like, मैंने बोला था, I said so. I said so, this would happen. Every time you go right, I said so. मैंने बोला था. Upasna, I knew you'd be successful. Aakash, I knew you'd be successful.
Yeah.
Great. So, people you're craving for right now, or you're thinking you're sacrificing, trust me, you're not sacrificing. Only root for the people, or only wish for those people to be in your life that you're in a phase of sacrifice, the so-called sacrifice, and it's your birthday, or it's someone else's birthday, or it's an event, and your friends, rather than going out, host you at your place.
Very deep.
I've had those friends still in my life, and these are my friends who now I've obliged or taken them for the most lavish holidays or for the most lavish outings and spent money on them without blinking an eye. These were the people who I remember one New Year's Eve, I clearly remember working very hard on 30th. 31st, I had no energy of partying or going out anywhere. And these four friends of mine came to my house, did all the arrangements, and we celebrated at my apartment, right? And these guys had all the money or everything to be out there and to party their hearts out, right? And these are the kind of people you need in your life.
Yeah.
So that's one. People who are sacrificing, who are in the phase of sacrifice thinking they're losing their friends, please keep doing what you're doing. Your friends will eventually find you or stick by you. Number two is don't get demotivated, right? It's very easy for the world to demotivate you. But if you truly believe in your vision, if you truly believe that this is what will give you eternal happiness, then please keep at it. Without obviously being foolish, having your stop loss. That this is the only kind of money you'll spend into this experiment. And the list goes on, Upasna. I think the more we keep talking, the more incidents or examples I'll have to share with you about this phase, the building phase as I call it, and all these Insta reels you see and YouTube shorts, they talk about going beast mode.
Yeah.
Trust me, that exists.
Yeah.
Beast mode is very important. You want to build a physique, you want to lose weight, you want to build a business, you want to build a great family, do whatever. Going beast mode, going gayab or invisible for a year, 2 years, 3 years is very important for anyone, because that is where you have to put focus on what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. And you've been through that mode many, many times actually.
Yeah.
Again, as somebody, let's go back to your journey. You were building BellaVita, now you've gotten this amazing amount of success. Suddenly the world's woken up to you. Now at that point, a normal person would be like, great, I've achieved what I wanted. You know, your first goals, take care of my family, I've built a name for myself. You should have just, like a lot of other people, retired to Dubai or Goa with a villa and chilled. And you decided to do exactly the opposite. And that's when I remember you called me again, where I thought you were going to retire and you're going to be an investor. And you decided to restart again from scratch and put yourself purposely in a space where you would have to work twice as hard as the first time. Why?
A few reasons. One, after BellaVita became a private equity-led company and more on an auto mode, right, where now we have It's like a corporate structure. We got the right people to run everything. I did not have a lot of work on a daily basis to do. So I was bored. Very honestly, I was bored. And investing for me, I do not like to bet on startups, but I'd like to work with founders, right? It's like a horse race. Who would you rather bet on, the horse or the jockey? You always have to bet on the jockey. So for me, the founders are the jockeys and the business is like a horse. So a horse might change, but the jockey has to be consistent, right? For me, one was, you know what, during my journey, I did not get the right support, the right mentorship, the right funds, or just the right guidance at the right time. So let me now recreate something like a unicorn. I don't want to talk about unicorn. This is not a unicorn promotional podcast, but let me just try creating something, a platform like unicorn where millions of people could be mentored by the right mentors. That's one. Second, I really had nothing better to do. This is what I know. All I know is to work hard 24/7 because this is what I enjoy now. So apart from spending time with my kids, with my friends, with family, work is the thing that keeps me happy. So I said, agar karna hi hai, then I'd rather keep working. I'd rather keep creating stuff. And great, God was kind to bless BellaVita to become the largest companies in India. Now let me try to create a platform from India for the world. And you know what? Demotivation still happens.
Yeah.
Even someone with my success now trying to build something new.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easy? No.
Absolutely not.
You still have similar people demotivating you saying, oh, there's already a LinkedIn. Why would you build a unicorn?
And that's the thing that people don't realize with founders who are established. I face it all the time, that now there's a lot more to lose.
Correct.
And pehle we used to walk into a room, we didn't have that baggage, right? We were just newbies.
Yeah.
But now you have this baggage, people know you. And at this stage, to deal with what you deal with, and again, I know so many people, entrepreneurs like myself, deal with it on a daily basis. I've been doing this for 8-10 years, but you still can get called out and say you won't succeed. How do you deal with that?
Again, same as how I dealt with 5 years back, but now it's just twice as stronger. You just have focus on yourself. You just believe in yourself. And if you're really true to what you're trying to create, ignore the noise and try to create it.
But the other thing that people tell me a lot is that, oh, now, but you will fail publicly because so many more people know
Who
you.
cares?
You still don't care?
Who cares? The public who's coming up to me to click selfies, right? What would happen? They'll stop coming to me to click selfies. Or what would they say? Oh, you're a one-hit wonder? What's the big deal, dude? They're not paying your bills. You should only care about those people who are the ones who are paying your bills.
Yeah.
That's the only people I care about. Are you sponsoring my travel? Are you sponsoring my fuel? Are you sponsoring my food? No. I don't care about what you feel. I'm just going to do what makes me happy.
Yeah.
Me first. If building a unicorn is making me happy, I'm going to do it. If I can afford to build it, I'm going to do it. If I can try and create an impact that I want to create, I'm going to do it. Let the noise be there.
The people that look at you think of you as this amazing entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs come to you for advice. But like you rightly said, you and I would not be entrepreneurs if we didn't have a phenomenal team of people who work with us full time. And one thing that I've really understood is that you can be very entrepreneurial even while you're doing a job or you have a career, right? What would you say to people like that? People who want to do really well at their jobs, but they don't want to start a company. They're probably really loving where they are, or they really believe in the company's mission. You have a phenomenal team. What would you say to them?
Those are the people who go on to become amazing CEOs, CXOs. I was sitting with with a certain mentor of mine, Mr. Gurnani, Mr. CP Gurnani, who was the ex-CEO of Tech Mahindra. He was one of the highest paid CEOs, then the biggest entrepreneurs of this country.
Yeah.
Now, how did he do that? I think he was, or one should be the best entrepreneur. What's an entrepreneur? You're an entrepreneur within the organization. If everyone's doing a 9 to 5, you do 8 to 7. And those extra 3 hours will catalyze your journey and take you to the position of the next CEO or the next CXO.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. So it's not important that everyone to be successful has to start an entrepreneurial venture. No.
Yeah.
You become an entrepreneur in the company you work with. And that's what worked with me, Upasna. That the 2-3 jobs I got to do in my life, including the outdoor advertising company, I was the best in the company and I made partner. And that's what people have to do.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful while being in the comfort zone of a salary, great. Enjoy your salary, but just start putting in 2 or 3 hours extra on a daily basis and you'll see you'll outsmart or outshine
Absolutely.
your entire competition.
100%.
Business and job is the same if you want to be successful, in the sense today a BellaVita or my businesses compete with other businesses. But if I'm an employee, my competition is other employees in that company.
Yeah.
So I just have to be better at my marketing, at my hours, at my strategies,
And at my output.
at my output.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think the biggest thing is people really, unfortunately, don't look at the effort. I mean, nobody's going to come to you and say, how many hours did you sacrifice? Or nobody's going to come and ask me how many things did I say. They will just look at the output on the table. So, what is that output that you're looking for in life now? What is that metric? You've reached that first metric of, providing for your family. You've also reached the second metric of building something beautiful, homegrown, and full of pride. What is your new metric?
Whenever you're flying in an airline, when they do the demonstration before the takeoff, they say a very important thing, that when the pressure gets low, oxygen mask's gonna come down. First put a mask on yourself and then help others. So I think, as I keep saying, God, this universe was kind, our spiritual guru was kind enough to make myself, Ananta Capital, BellaVita, all of us very successful. And now that we've put oxygen masks on ourselves, I am now trying to give oxygen to all the Akashes in the world who are now living the journey that I used to live while I was building. And it could be in a job, it could be in a entrepreneurial network or setup, or it could be anywhere in this world. And like we keep discussing, since you help me with a lot of impactful stuff I do, my job's just to make sure before I die, I'm able to impact a few million lives.
Why is that important to you?
Because that's the biggest, I think, void I have. As they say that you should never blame anyone in life. But the only disappointment I have in my entire journey is I wish I had gotten the right guidance from the right people at the right time. My journey would have become far more smoother or less traumatizing. And I'm using the word traumatizing. The BellaVita journey or my journey as an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur today, it was traumatizing. I still suffer from a lot of traumas that I went through. And I feel wherever I or my impact or my network or my content or my capital or my enablement, Wolfpack Labs, wherever we can help anyone going through their journey, I'd be more than happy to. If podcasts like this can help a few million people get motivated, understand from our failures, get a clear vision, I think that's fantastic. I think one of the podcasts I did, which went viral, I got so many messages, I got so many people meeting me on the street, thanking me that, certain things you said made so much sense that we just implemented them to our lives and we saw great changes.
So you're actually giving out a really important message, which is most people would take trauma and that trauma will stay with you and becomes a very negative experience, right? In fact, most people will want to run away. For example, if you've ever gotten burned, you'll never want to go near fire. If you've fallen down, you never want to jump, but you want to jump back right in exactly the same place you fell. So what you're basically saying is that face your trauma and then turn that trauma into something which is actually a place of power.
Correct. Absolutely. What gives you happiness?
What gives you happiness?
What gives you happiness? Beyond money, beyond family, friends, or your close people, what else can give you happiness? Do you know why charity, I actually experienced it myself. Why is doing charity or giving stuff away such a great feeling? It actually makes you feel good about yourself that you've been able to help someone who weren't capable of helping themselves.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
That's why giving away is the biggest superpower a human can have, is the power to give away materialistic things, or is the power to give away knowledge. That's the biggest superpower you can have today.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, it's all fiction, whatever the superheroes do, but in real terms, the biggest superpower anyone can have is to be able to disseminate knowledge or give out knowledge which creates a positive impact on people. And that really makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because my experiences, Upasna, I feel, I was a guy next door. Honestly, I swear to God, I never thought that I would be sitting here or I would be at this position in my life where I would get recognized on the street, I would get upgrades in aircrafts, or I would get upgrades in hotels, or people would thank me for being able to create a product that helps them become better. Again, at a price point which is acceptable, which is affordable, or which is, uh, accessible. Amazing. So I, being a guy next door, was able to reach this milestone I never thought. And if I can do it, trust me, if I can do it despite so many barriers, despite so many distractions, despite so many highs and lows, I think a lot of people in this world can do it.
Because you surrendered.
Because I say it.
Because I remember, again, very distinctively that every couple of months, especially before you started BellaVita, you would be trying something new. It would be hard. You would be failing or you wouldn't be unhappy. And so many times, I think, people came to you and, like you said, why don't you leave the country, go away? I think the one thing that kept coming back is you always said, Ki, I will not leave this country till I make it big in my own country, right? And that's something that I know is really, really powerful. So again, for all of these young people who are now going to be the next set of employees, next set of entrepreneurs, what do you want to say to them about the future and the potential of building in this country?
India is the place to be.
Yeah.
India is the place to be. Like, example, for Unicorn, I'm not raising any capital from American VCs right now. We're getting a lot of inquiries. We're thinking what to do, but our preference is to make sure we raise capital from the country itself, right? And India, Upasna, is actually the place to be. The next 15 years, 20 years, it's the Indian story. Like we say, the American dream, I would say the Indian story. That's what India is all about. We've got the right population, we've got the right quality, we've got the right quantity, we've got the right infra. Everything's being built in this country. So the opportunity is endless. Just like China became a global hub for manufacturing, I want India, and I want to enable this in my journey, India to be the global hub for startups. If every seventh person on this planet is Indian, every seventh startup on the planet should be Indian or from India. That's how I see it. Anyone who feels that I would go abroad, work in the US, work in UK, work in Australia, create a life for myself, I would say start with India. If you can't make it big here, trust me, you can't make it big anywhere.
That's true. If you can drive in India, you can drive anywhere. If you can build in India, you can build anywhere.
This is the place to be. I love India. I love our country. This is the place to be.
Absolutely. And now coming to the end of this conversation, I have just last 2 or 3 questions. And what I want to ask is, what do you want to tell the Aakash of 10 years ago? The Aakash who had not built BellaVita, who was hopping from job to job, who I know at some point didn't know where he was going to live, had no clue what he was going to build. What would you say to him?
Don't feel that bad. That's one thing I'd say myself. See myself. I'm sorry. The 10 years, the guy was 10 years piche ka Aakash. Like, don't feel so bad. It's okay. Life will give you shit. Life will treat you harsh. But trust me, once you break through, once you cross that escaped velocity in life, you're gonna be 10x happier than what you were that time.
And I want to say something which is really special. I don't really remember it. Exactly at this point, I remember you and me having a cup of coffee. I was having the coffee. You were having the drink with my dad. And you were discussing some of this with him. And I don't know if you remember this, but my dad looked at you. And, unfortunately, it's not with me anymore, but he was my biggest inspiration. And he looked at you and he said, whatever you do, don't stop. Just keep going. You'll land somewhere. And you looked at him back then with 150,000x confidence and you said, stop. I'm just getting started. And that's the Aakash that we all remember. So, I think all of us who knew you do something, we had no idea what we do. But we all knew we were going to remember something because at the lowest of your lowest, we just never stopped. And I remember that your highest amount of optimism, at least to the world and your friends around you, was when things were the worst. And I think that's the message that's what your life gives to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. If I really have to give a pep talk to myself 10 years back, who I was, again, don't be so harsh on yourself. And trust me, dude, the world owes you nothing, right? And this is something which everyone has to understand. I used to blame a lot of people that, he could have done this for me. He could have enabled me here. He could have done that for me. The world owes you nothing. And Charte Suraj koi salam hai. So it's a Hindi saying, and people salute the rising sun. I don't know what the phrase in English is, but once you start achieving what you set out, people won't come to you automatically and start appreciating. So don't feel that the world owes you anything. and stop being so harsh in your son. And I wish every person, look at the government does this to everyone, that stop being so harsh on your son. Anyone who's going through a hard journey right now, a journey of struggle, a journey of sacrifice, stop being so hard. It's okay. You chose this. You have the option to choose a easier life, but you chose this. And because you chose this,
And the reward that ultimately comes to you is directly proportional to how perfect.
It's better than heaven. You live your heaven here, you live your hell here. So go through some years of hell to live your entire life in heaven.
Thank you, Akash. This was very, very special. Great. Thank you for being part of the tour.